Right. So, first thing to consider, acoustics. Not great. Not great. So, when someone's talking, we need to just be mindful and we need to like listen to what they're saying. We can't be talking over each other because already there's like obviously other people talking and it's just bouncing around the building. So a bit more mindfulness. So whenever someone's talking, like from one person talking to speak up, and the others need to just like listen because this room is terrible for acoustics. So for the purpose of the film and but also for the purpose of us all hearing each other, it's really really important. So yeah. So I think for today we thought it would be nice to take back a bit of what we give out, but also to sort of talk about the show in general and the idea of a staff show and sort of have a little chat about that, because it's something that me and Philippe have been like discussing it for a few years now, but no one ever goes forward to organising it because it's quite a lot of pressure, like organising, and it's quite a sensitive thing, like. If you think about it, right? So you got like this like idea of staff being like the people that teach. There's a sort of weight with that, right? This sort of pressure that goes with that. I think for a lot of people, and it's sort of like they're sort of steering away from being vulnerable, maybe like exhibiting is vulnerable. So like,
but also, so it goes two ways, doesn't it? So there's like we're always telling you what's good and what's not good.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so you put your money where your mouth is. But at the same time, like what we're saying is like, you should say whether you like it or not, but there's a power imbalance as well, because it's like we're going to mark the work, so you've got to be nice, right? But actually, we want to like say that that's not a thing.
No.
But we want to acknowledge that that's a weirdness, isn't it?
We've in terms of, so touching on what's happening today, don't worry. We've had lots of crits in our lives. We've been through very brutal crits. It used to be very brutal in our day. We've had people slay, I think I made an installation once. It took 6 weeks to construct, and then I had quite a lot of very polite feedback. And then a critic came along, like a visiting critic, and he absolutely destroyed it with his. But it was like he's entitled to do that. That's what being a critic is. So just be mindful that you can be as free as you want, and talk about other people's work as well. So just a bit of context. It's quite interesting because. The majority of people obviously are academics, but there's also people from finance and from well-being. So there's like not just teaching staff, which is quite nice as well. Yeah.
So I mean, open.
Come on.
So it's pretty open, right? So just like in the space, what occurs to you? What's great? What's interesting? What's worth saying?
It's not just you two's work.
No.
No, there's about 20, 25 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean, I was saying that, but you can focus on our work if you like.
That's what I thought we were doing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I thought it was a personal crit.
Like maybe you can focus on our work, but then you could have some loose chat about potential curation, maybe potential challenges to the space, which we don't know about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Does that look normal to you?
Being in front of it.
It's pretty messed up. Anyway, anyway, without dwelling on that. Yeah, so crack on.
So if you want to talk about this, and then maybe the other painting up there, and so I'll do the same thing that we did last week, which was I won't say anything. You can say stuff, and I'll shut up.
Yeah, so we could like come closer to this piece. So there's a label just down here.
typical numbskull?
Numbskull wasteland.
The shape related to the painting as it looks like a lung or
Okay.
an organ or
Quite, yeah.
the details of the lungs.
When I saw the arrows, those arrows are kind of the ones that I usually see in like scientific textbooks for air circulation, water circulation for the industrial factory. But when I first saw this in the show, what I thought of was building on. I didn't read the name yet, so I was thinking of building on a wasteland. Then I saw the name. I was thinking of building on a world that we kind of destroyed and just trying
Building anew.
yeah, but also like not having a good foundation for new things and stuff. That's what it felt like to me. It felt very ecological.
And is that because of the surface that the pieces
It is because of the surface, yeah. And it's very human. It's very human made. It doesn't seem very organic. Organic chemicals in that. Yeah. And the lovely feather.
She speaks really well.
rust.
We're actually having had that conversation with you just
I
yesterday.
said the rust is on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The surface of that and everything else, like the shapes that we create.
It's a bit like building blocks. So it's something of material like oil, yeah. Yeah, like a simple like old style building blocks which are just like plain. Or maybe a so yes, there's some kind of playfulness.
I also heard that these things that are either painted also on the side and also here looks like
Clues,
like block things or it could be snake.
or the film negatives.
Yeah, it does look like the film
It's like a film negatives,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not like
Yeah, but I think it's all like very playful and inviting for you to look at little details.
What about the scale of this? We're approaching this as if we are, 16 times the size of it. That's not accurate, or whatever. I imagine approaching this after being shrunk, right? So like approaching it like this sort of size, as if this is some kind of model for a sculpture part or something, like walking around the space. But has anyone else got any sort of thoughts when they first saw this as what they were sort of looking at scale wise, or is this something that was just scale? See?
I was thinking of scale because I was like thinking of buildings.
Yeah. Okay.
Around.
buildings because yeah, I think if it was up here, if the plinth had been higher, maybe I would think more about faces, humans.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think it looks like a wasteland.
Could be the two eyes and a nose.
Time guys, so that's right. So what was that then?
These could be two eyes and a nose. These two eyes and a nose.
Yeah, quite figurative.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, you can see the face with the teeth. The face with the nose.
The side profiles. Yeah. Yeah.
And then these are all two.
And what was it, Josephine?
It looks like a derelict wasteland.
Yeah.
Where you know, like you go to a pump and you see some fancy tap up there.
You got like the rusty rides.
Yeah,
Rusty,
that's what it looks like.
or even the little thing that kids spin around on.
Yeah, key on.
Or the
Merry-go-round?
yeah, the things that they run on in play areas.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what they call them.
I wonder if the surface looks like a piece sign.
That's a Mercedes logo.
Looks like a slogan.
Yes, yeah. This sign has one more line.
Swastika?
Always down on the table height, architectural models. So this year's building.
That's what I was thinking, sort of like model, that level, the scale. But yeah, the sort of maybe things like very brutal, like memorials or sculptures.
Buildings that are now.
The council is based on the future.
Council Estates of the Future.
Oh,
But when the world's ending.
In the year.
I mean, don't you think that when he plays games, right? Games where you know you can imagine figures are running in here and and buildings come alive.
You have done Monopoly before, right? Monopoly in COVID times. I saw in your website.
Say a bit more about that? Is it okay to talk about previous knowledge of the artist? What was it related to?
It is a game, so it relates to
Is about money, buildings,
buildings, yeah.
Or each location's buildings as well.
But still, this figure looks like lungs for me because I.
but maybe a building like because you have like ducts that get air into a building.
Yeah, fresh air, new buildings, new architects, maybe.
It's like building in France. It's building in London.
Green buildings,
Inside
green
out.
buildings.
Yeah, Lloyd's building, yeah.
The
You
green
see those really big tubes coming in and out. Which are kind of like the lungs of the building, aren't they? Yeah.
I saw in Covent Garden, I remember now, yeah, the building has some green, they're fresh, they're alive. Recently, new architect idea.
So I had my thoughts of it. For me, it seems more of an industrial landscape with the sort of the rust, the metal is very industrial, and looking at the sort of divide in it, the cut into three sectors. It's I'm sort of imagining like factories, because that also sort of looks like railway as well in some ways. It's they also sort of have like chimney stacks. They sort of look like a certain factory but like abstracted, and sort of then lends to the rust and sort of like really sensitive landscape. So like a industrial complex type of thing.
And then from a sustainable point of view, looks like all the materials are actually found objects. The artists they found it, I mean they might have it, you know, around the house, you know, in the garden, you know, it was just lying in the garden. And these little pieces from maybe building up another thing, and that's, you know, the leftovers. And use all of that to make this piece of art. Yeah. You know, like kind of like recycling what things that otherwise gonna end on the bin.
But do some parts of it feel newer than other parts? So I agree, you totally feel like it's like bits that are discarded, that found out, maybe they've been chopped, maybe they've sanded a bit, we don't know. Is there parts that feel more like older than other parts? Like, is there parts that feel like the artist has made them recently, like on the surface?
It does feel like a clash between the new and the old, and the new and the old trying to merge, but maybe not finding the best possible path to combine.
So which parts do you think sort of feel?
The rust makes it feel old, but the way the blocks are cut and
But in terms of the surfaces of the blocks, what are we thinking?
The ones that looked in
Yeah, exactly. All of it?
Well, we know all this one.
Yeah, I know. I still.
It's hard to, I mean, yes.
no, but when it's sculptures, that's maybe what's there.
Yeah.
But when it's nicely like detailed,
Yeah.
Clash of like remnants and artifice.
This kind of fits into the surface, but the other ones are like the car.
only for very minimal budgets.
We're not really doing it. Are we doing it?
Yeah, we're doing that. We can do that.
So the first question was what is numbskulls? And so this is a comic strip from the like 1980s where there are little people that are inside the body, And so they all work like they're working in the office. So there's the guy in the head department, or there's the guy in the mouth department shoveling the food. So there's this kind of this world on the inside where the whole of the body is animated by kind of this drama of maybe it's an administrative kind of office space or a factory. And it's it kind of reimagines what the body is. So it was had an effect on me as a child. Was reading this and thinking, how does the body work, and what is going on the inside? So this internal landscape is kind of, I'm just imagining into that, right? But then also all of those other things that you were saying, it's really, it's like it plays on my mind, and I think about, the world out here that's gone to shit, this, right? So it's kind of that inside and outside space. I really liked when you said that it felt like children's blocks, because I'd not seen that, but that's like a really core memory for me, because my grandfather would make wooden blocks from offcuts in the garage, and he would be like, there would be just here you can play with the blocks.
So was that a silent crit? Sort of like
Yes, yeah. I was like, I didn't realize that really resonated. Like, I didn't realize that was probably the motivation. I didn't know that was in there, but I think it is in there. It's really okay. But then also the memories to do with we always had leaflets in the house which were to do with diseases, because my dad would sell drugs to doctors. He was a promoter of drugs, so there's kind of these cancers and pustules and horrible things all just lying around the house, all these leaflets. So I think about kind of decay in our body, but I think you're right, that kind of northern wasteland where everything's boarded up, that's kind of in there as well. It's just, it's not something to explain, but there are these images that kind of go with it.
And then, you get things that are boarded up, and then people paint art on it, don't they? So it's that sort of reflection as well. So some parts there, obviously, that's ancient, isn't it? That bit in there that's painted. It's like bits.
So I really like this painting. It looks like a head or face of the human inside of the inside of the body.
So they're all quotations from an encyclopedia of the body. So it's a children's encyclopedia, but it's from the 1950s, and so the illustrations are really strange. So they're like this, so they're just they're excerpts, and I've just reprinted them.
I knew it was in the style of a textbook. I was saying that it felt like it was in the style of those textbooks.
Yeah, exactly. So you imagine old textbooks that should have been thrown out at school. It's like that sort of thing that you remember. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like you're trying to. But those illustrations are trying to explain something with an image, but there are no arrows inside your body, right? But also, if you think about X-rays, they're also just images. It's not black and white, and it doesn't. The body isn't like that. So our experience of our body is mediated through these weird images. And we just have collections of images, but we don't know what it's like to be a person. We have this kind of external looking at ourselves version of it. It bothers me, which is why I make art, right? So I think quite often, if you've got something that you kind of have to come back to again and again, it's because it kind of bothers you and you can't let it go. So some artists, they have, it's like, how can you, if you look at some artists, you go, how could you possibly just do the same thing for 50 years? Right? It's just the same stuff. You just done another version of it. It's because they're kind of just that bothered by it that they have to try and resolve it somehow, and they don't know how to. So they make the art try and do something with it. You know? But yeah, any thoughts after I've said nonsense?
Is it heavy?
The bass is really heavy. So this is kind of like a concrete bass, but it's a garden table. So it's like a mosaic table.
How long between you taking that garden table away from the garden and making this? How long was that? Was it immediate idea?
I found it in the bin store a few days before the exhibition, and I didn't have anything to put these sculptures on, and it was perfect. So
you didn't plan it?
No, they just found things that I should put together. So it just like I didn't know how it was going to be, and suddenly that it just had to be like that. Yeah. And these marks are kind of just because the rust fell off, and it just was like that. But you just go with it. So trying to listen to the materials and just present.
I love the feather.
Yeah.
Are they glue it or no?
So this one's free,
Oh.
but these are super glued down because they would fall off. They would sort of balance, but in this
Top heavy,
place.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Do they connect with you?
That's a good question.
We haven't talked about the painting. We go talk about the painting.
Yeah, let's do that.
And also Philippe was singing there.
Yes. Yeah, I can tell you about that if you like.
That's the first tune.
I really liked the songs and everything, and the little drawings. It's amazing. I love that.
I'm not so sure about the curation.
Oh, I curated it.
What's that?
We're not talking about creative. We can talk about it after.
Okay, we'll talk about
Or we can talk about it now if you want. What's happening here is hanging artwork at the same level as artwork in a group show. Not in a solo show, maybe, but in a group show, I think sometimes you need to have something a little bit offset, just to sort of to know that it's not the same artist. I think.
That's the same artist.
And the curation was that there's a guy walking, and he's having a walk in the park, right? It was
Both
literally
are
done
naked.
in about 10 minutes. Okay. The hardest bit was nailing this up without smashing the artwork. But yeah, the painting. So does anyone want to say stuff about Philippe's painting?
It feels alive. It feels like the organs of something. I mean, the branches of the trees look like amphibian fingers, like toad fingers, instead of like branches of trees. So, to me, it feels like what a tree could have looked like if it didn't like evolve the way it did, and like if it was merged with like human beings or other types of animals, and it's like the child of a frog and a tree. Do you know what I mean? And the underpainting I just feel like it feels uncanny, like in a way where it's not supposed. That's not supposed to be a thing. Do you know what I mean? But it is.
So are they reflected in a lake? Or, I mean, are the trees reflected in a lake?
Because of the blue? Yeah, I mean.
Is that not a reflection of the tree?
Oh, right. I thought you meant the whole image was us looking down into a lake because we've got blue surrounding the same blue, right?
No, it's not the same.
That's not the same blue?
It's different. This blue is different to that one.
Okay, yeah, slightly lighter.
But the title suggests that it is related.
It's related.
The title?
What's the title?
Because it's organic.
Yeah.
You can see it's
And it's
that is organic.
yeah,
Because
you
from a
can see
human
that
body. I mean, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking again. It felt quite diagrammatic because of the blues being so similar, right? And there's not, and I know the artist knows it has a really good technique of painting, but the painting is purposefully painted so you've got this blue in quite kind of uniform from top to bottom, right? Slightly, yeah, right. Yeah.
Don't
But-
try
but-
to change my mind. It's different blue.
I'm not.
Okay, but that's fine. We all have different views of the blue. But what I mean is, if I was to go outside, you'd see much more dramatic change in light. Yeah, and yeah, it's got a diagrammatic feel to it because the subject matter, which is kind of these like veiny trees, is like surrounded by it. So it's like going right down to it. Normally with a landscape, you'd get more kind of whites as well and greys.
I think the trees, they look a bit like the
The centres.
Not that I don't really like the same one, but
Yeah, bronchioles, bronchii, plural. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if anyone's ever read out the Codex Serafinianus by
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, it's like that's what it reminds me of. It's like a fake nature book about the fake world.
That's a
where things
favourite
are
book.
like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like he draws these like animals and trees and stuff like that exist in the fake world.
Oh yeah,
So that's sort of what it's like.
yeah.
But it also feels like it's one of those cues, like it needs continuation, you know, because it's kind of
Yeah.
so kind of trope there. It's like it's a piece
Like-
of the puzzle,
like
or piece
the-
of that set of those.
Like the person who's painted a little mural
Yeah.
has decided to also paint on a stretcher as well, or a wooden board. Yeah.
But I mean, if it's a continuation, because it's also called an obstacle, right? Then this could also just be inside the body. Could it just be a tree inside the body? I don't know, or a blood something vessel. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
It might be inside or outside. We don't know.
Yeah, definitely blue and red. Vague.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
I think that is a little bit obvious, you know, that we live in the underpainting, you know, around the lamps and stuff, you know. And I don't know if that's what that is intentional or is just because the artist didn't bother in finishing it.
No, I think it's definitely,
He didn't have
No, it's
time.
definitely intentional.
definitely it could be bothered.
It's a very common practice.
No,
Like
definitely.
super
Like,
bright
oh my
lines.
god, you know, like.
I think it's intentional because it's not small. It was like really tiny, but it's so obviously.
No, but it's common practice to see like super bright orange
Yeah.
underpainting to show through painting.
Yeah.
But I feel this color makes it look slightly radioactive. Like as if
Yeah.
there's something that's not quite. There's a little bit something sick about it.
Yeah, I think like with the first one and this one, part two, it's like there's something unhealthy about it. Like the being put on a rusty plate, like it already doesn't give you a sense of something being healthy. And the colors here, like of the trees, are like dark and sick as well. So it's like neither of them have a sort of the implication to it. Yeah, sort of like the lungs also look like smoke.
Or maybe healthy or unhealthy reflections on
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's.
Is that 5 minutes up?
Yeah, I'm a script manager this time, not you guys.
Good.
Your turn.
So yeah, great. I love the responses to the painting. I suppose the only thing that I had in my mind when I was painting, it's a much more explicit version of that. So I'm literally saying an internal landscape. Like it's really like, there you go, internal landscape. So it's not as, maybe I'm not trying to do as much with it. I'm just saying that thing. There's the inside and the outside. But I'm also thinking about painting as well. I'm thinking about like something like a Constable painting. You know, so you have that scene with the pool in front of it.
Oh yeah.
You know? So that kind of, that idea of a painting with a capital P, like a landscape painting. I'm thinking about that, but like what that feels like on the inside, and you know, and it's like what, and the sort of non-specific bodily organs. I think you're right. It's kind of, I think it doesn't really matter what they were. I think they might have been kidneys, but it doesn't.
Might have been what? Sorry.
Kidneys. But you know, because it's like, because normally you think of kidneys in pairs, you know, there's a bunch sprouting up. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. But they're non-specific bodily organs. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Being organic.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's I think probably a bit less deep, but a bit more painting. You know, so the painting itself carries a bit of what's happening. Yeah. And I suppose the surface as well, I think all about, like, it's kind of made out the same junk from the woodwork store. So it's not as junky as the sort of bit more.
Just so you put it on the boxes, right? I mean, it's sitting up from the quite far up. So is that a sort of nod to the...
Yeah, painting sculptures, like the painting is a surface as much as it's an object as well.
Yeah. It's nice to have chunky.
Like if it was part of the series, that then maybe you painted something on your side, but maybe that takes away from the
You're right. To tie it to that, then some little.
or maybe not so separate. I don't know.
No, it would be fun. I think you're right. If it was part of an exhibition show, that would be a nice fun thing to do. Yeah. Have some diagrams down the side. Yeah, nice. Good suggestion. Oh, so this is mine. That's that.
And
that.
we can talk about this if you want, though. The curation was very so like sometimes with big group shows, as in like not big like in terms of the work, but like 25, 30 artists, right? So a lot of people don't know each other. Well, they know each other, but their work doesn't know each other, right? They're not. It's sort of tied together because we all work at the same college. So I don't know, it was quite spontaneous. Like I was hanging this area, and I think it's quite, I don't know, it's something about if you sort of hang them at the same level, there's sometimes maybe too much connection with them. And you sort of wanted a bit of connection with the pieces, and there's no connection. They're made by different artists in their own studios or in their own workshops, completely separate. They even work in separate buildings. We get on really well though, but we've never seen the work. But I was thinking, I was just hanging lots of works, moving stuff around. There was a group of us hanging stuff, and I thought, that's kind of fun because it's ceramic, my work's ceramic. And then Philippe's piece was figuring out where to hang that. And I was thinking, okay, this kind of looks like someone going for a walk, right? There's obviously like much more deeper concepts to that. But then I was thinking like walks through like, but the whole idea of like sort of hanging work at different heights is something you guys will see us play around with at the summer show with you. But it's kind of, there's obviously like certain rules in the art world. And people say you have to have things at head height. Well, that rule ultimately falls flat because you've only got average head height, and then that's kind of rubbish, right? So people you can hang work however you want. The main thing is it looks intentional. I think if it kind of looked slightly off, like say the top of this was there, that would not look great, or there. It had to be like enough to make it look intentional. So that's the other thing you have to consider with hanging work. Whether or not it doesn't work for you is totally fine. That's your subjective opinion. But and that's the subjective opinion of the audience. But what is important is that the audience sees that it's intentional. But if they don't like it or they like it, that's up to them. But it has to look intentional.
I think it does look intentional. The only thing that just like I don't understand a little bit more is just the fact that it's taller than most people.
Sure.
It's a bit higher. It was just a bit hard to look at.
Yeah.
When I see a painting, I want to have like my face in the painting.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah. So we could have dropped it all down, kind of thing. Yeah.
To be fair, it was all done very quickly, so
It was.
fair enough.
And maybe once that was in the wall,
There is that as well. That's a very good point. Yeah.
That's not going
That's the longest I've spent hammering a nail. Just like
I like the comments about uneasiness and how it doesn't sit right or there's something jarring about it. I like that. That feels good. So that being bothered about the surface, the background and the foreground, kind of fighting with each other. That's good for me. I'm happy.
What about the scale? It's quite small. In a microscope.
It's a good question. Like, what we could make the painting small, or we could have.
Well, it's quite small now, but
what it was tiny,
like a slide or a microscope.
It's quite big for the other, considering the other paintings. Think about that.
Oh, no, I did enjoy the idea that it was like the connection with the board game scale. I think that's quite nice. It's kind of like a nice continuity with my work, which is kind of, you've got this board game scale thing where you imagine into a space like that. So, you know, like the board game pieces, it's an altered space, and then you can play with it in your mind, like a board game. Yeah. So maybe that helps me actually. It's quite good.
Yeah, nice. Cool. That's the benefit of crits, isn't it, everybody?
Yeah.
Right.
You don't get this, which is really great. And so the connection, we can segue, because we had the idea of these two, talking about these two pieces being separate, but then do these feel together? So there was the idea that you thought that this was one thing, didn't you? Because they were connected. Because those two are definitely one thing, aren't they? So what do you think?
Well, it says scroll 1 plus 2, so it's actually two different pieces.
Yeah, but the same one.
Yeah.
Okay, but imagine if we couldn't see the labels. Imagine these didn't exist.
Yeah, you can tell that this belongs to one series.
So what do you think?
Really interesting technique.
I mean, the interesting thing about the hanging was, I always say with hanging, it's a good idea to sleep on it, whereas I didn't sleep on this. Right? So I hung it. Some of the hanging on this wall will be done on Friday. I was then teaching Monday. I came to hang Tuesday. I was hanging a second on Tuesday. So I was actually conducting, in my book, bad practice. So I hung it on Tuesday morning, and privately it was Tuesday evening. Normally it's a good idea to sleep on it, right? So I come back another day and then make adjustments. So already I have come back this week and I thought, I could have maybe changed it up. But what Philippe's asking, I guess, is about, there's a certain, I've obviously mirrored it, right? So I've mirrored the hang between a work that is related to one artist and then two works that are related to one, two works that are related to two different artists. See what I mean? That's maybe a product of spontaneity and not sleeping on the curatorial decision.
So
They're obviously very different.
It makes me think of smoke, but seeing it through glass that's really thick and kind of foggy, so you can't quite see the smoke, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah, so it does give that impression as well, so half kind of ruins or something like that, like a little bit like that, the leaves one,
So
something
like a house that's burnt down.
Yeah,
that's exactly like that.
yeah, but you're not seeing it
So
clear.
Like, so you're looking through the glass that's like where the house fire is or something.
Yeah.
And even though this is clay, but it doesn't look like it could be just like a bit. So although they're two kind of, the shape is very nice and smooth, but they still look very kind of like they're just
I realized that the cyanotype on the
something photographic about it.
Yeah, the cyanotype
Yeah.
of the stone, and he did some small with the different surface.
So if it's racquer, I was just wondering if you used ash or, I mean, could you have used ash if it's racquer? Or is it a type of, it's a glaze, right? Or it's obviously done very intentionally that this part is shiny and that's matte, right? So it's almost like a photo or a painting in a frame or something like that, right?
I can't speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is?
The raku, yeah.
The type of ceramics.
It's like open fire. That's why.
It's the dramatic change.
And you can't control it afterwards. It's very hard to control.
The kiln is totally different. Raku kiln is
That's
And
why
then
you
you put
get
it in
all
cold
small
water.
people.
So it's much more like, imagine, like, I don't know, Iron Age people doing their own ceramics.
Yeah.
It's like you get like a fire and you chuck it in, it's like, you're burning sawdust, working with the elements, rather than like a, like a normal kiln would be like this box that's like fired up by electrics and it's very controlled. This is like,
Maybe it's just because I just took down Constanza's negatives, but it looks like a negative gone wrong.
Yeah, it does.
Like, you know, like one of those negatives that at the end of the film when there's nothing, right? Like the sort of
like a double exposure.
exposure, wrong exposure, high exposure, or something like that. But then there's something very heavy about it, so
Well, that's really lovely insight. Is that frame with the slide? It's like the slide,
right?
Cardboard frame around it.
Yeah.
So it has that.
But then again, you know that this is stone, right? So it's different.
stone with wood, maybe.
Or is it mounted on wood?
Wood, stone, painting, drawing.
That might just be to make it hang, right?
It looks like it looks like wood as well. I mean this kind of
Layers.
remarks the resemblance of wood, like a piece of wood, like a piece of very old wood, a very old building.
See, that's black and white, but then this is so color.
And the little piece is funny because it can resemble, like a poker card, and at the same time, like a little book of prayers. You know what I mean? And it's a little bit
The
like
small one, really.
Yeah. Or maybe hair. That they
It could be a microscopic image.
And the microscope on
ash, maybe.
you said microscope.
Like ash,
For me, it looks like these look like, you know when you look under a microscope and see those cells that are kind of like one is pushing onto the other. They both look like they're microscopic.
Oh, you can use hair in raku, can't you? You can take in the end, you have that thing where you put a horse hair or something on, and it smells really bad. I like that.
So, like, I suppose the.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, go.
Your tattoo.
No, it's just a zigzag.
Is zigzag or something? Teeth or something?
Oh my god.
Like
I'm having an epiphany. It's true.
And there is another thing that this piece it could be like an abstract representation of the creation of Adam from Michelangelo. Like when they are trying to.
yeah, the fingers in the touch.
In this one the fingers are touching. In the original one, the fingers are not touching really. It's like like it looks like God wants to reach the human being, Adam, but Adam is like, I'm thinking about it. By here they did actually touch.
Divine intervention.
Sorry, I cut your.
No. So what? Like, I always try and think about the meaning. Like, so the material carries a lot of meaning. It seems to me. Like when I'm doing stuff, it's much more like but it's like this sort of collision of elemental forces, that sort of thing that carries a lot of meaning. But you've got, what else do I think about? I think about paintings as well, right? I always think about paintings, and then this tradition of quite minimalist paintings. You know, so I think sometimes about the Malevich black square on white background as like this iconic painting. Do you know Malevich stuff?
1910.
I think about these kind of really early works that kind of blow the idea of what a painting can be out of the wall. It's like, you know, it's like, yeah, screwy, dusty old paintings. Malevich. He used to be Russian, but he's now Ukrainian. They changed all the labels a few years ago, yeah. Yeah.
But also when you know that it's rough, then you know that this has been in an open fire. So I kind of think about fire, water, air, earth, you know, and the forms are in the air, water, and or earth, like dust, and then you know that it's been in this sort of fiery.
Yes, it seems really organic. It looks very organic, but it also looks extremely intentional. The one on the left seems very organic. Seems like things happened the way they just happened, and except the square that's there, because squares don't actually exist in nature. But when you look at the one at the top, it seems intentional where things are blocked out, things are specifically put in certain areas. But it still seems very organic. So when you look at it, you don't realise, oh, this is done specifically to create this shape. You know what comes up. Like the zigzag, that's not normal, that's not organic. That didn't just happen, that was made. Do you know what I mean? So it
reminds me
like
of
collision of forces.
Yeah, so it's like it's very human. Because a lot of things we do is very just natural, but then we are intentional with what we do.
It's very human because of the teeth and the hair.
What, sorry?
The teeth and the
Teeth
hair.
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
hair is very human, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
version is the light side of the stuff.
It's so funny when people bring imagery into things that are really abstract.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's obviously the dinosaur's back.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's all about dinosaurs, triceratops.
See, Jesus in my coffee.
Exactly.
it reminds me of, and it might be a little morbid, but the like shadows that were left after like the bomb dropped on like Nagasaki and Hiroshima, people left on like the concrete. That's that was my initial impression of it. Like
A sort of aerial photograph.
no, like when the bombs dropped on like the people, because they were like disintegrated so quick, it left a literal shadow on the concrete.
It's like Pompeii.
Well, it's in Pompeii, it's like they look like body casts in Pompeii, yeah.
Yeah, so in like Hiroshima and like Nagasaki, it's literal like shadows on the concrete, because like their body fell there and then just disintegrated. So that's
Interesting.
kind of what it reminds me of. Like if you were to take a cut out of that concrete.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what happened though? Like things that were covered before they went into the kiln, and so there's like this huge.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's like the burst
So
of
it's not
heat.
so morbid because it's basically what's happening on a much
but it's
tinier,
like
safer
it's
level.
Oh, let me see if I find.
Are they connected to the other pieces, or are they separate?
Am I asked to?
You are, yeah.
They're connected not in terms of like materiality or process, but in terms of conceptually or ideas they are. But they're like they're both raku, but they're very different. I can talk through the processes, but they're very different processes. Well, not hugely different, but slightly different. So it's my 5 minutes up.
Your 5 minutes, you can talk.
But we haven't talked about these ones though.
Okay.
Yeah, but you spoke twice about this one.
Oh yeah.
We talked a little about these, we haven't really
Yeah.
looked at these.
But I do want to hear what you have to say about that.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I could
Contextualise
talk about them all at the end, or if you want, I can talk about 2 now and then 2 later.
Do all at the end.
When
Do it
we
at the end?
finish
Yeah,
this,
do it at
you
the
can
end.
talk both about
I like all at the end. I'll do it all at the end.
Yeah, 'cause these are so
are they
different.
called scroll? I don't really understand that. How can they be a scroll? They're twisted.
This
No,
one,
no,
this
cool.
one's a scroll.
Oh yeah, right. A scroll is something you wrote, isn't it? What is a scroll? A scroll is something you, like a papyrus, like a. You can't roll these up. What? Or is it a
But you're right, we didn't talk about the typo. You're right, so scroll, it's trying to, I suppose it's trying to indicate
Or
that
scroll are really old.
Maybe something like
it's something like an ancient document.
Yeah,
and then there's
ancient,
some trace or something.
leaving documentation.
I mean, stone tablets we've used in the past for information.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's.
I mean, you can scroll on an iPhone.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm like,
Roll on your phone.
the worst
Are they buttons?
Sorry.
No, good.
They're computer buttons.
Burned
Keyboard. Keyboard. Well, if that's a button, sorry, then these are all buttons. They're
crooked core. Core is a processor core.
oh, core, like that's inside the computer.
Or it could
No,
be
it doesn't
nuclear
really look
reactor
like a
core.
computer process.
Yeah. But then,
Yeah,
then,
that's
It could be the core of a nuclear
Yeah,
bomb,
that's what I'm
like,
saying. A core
or you
of
could look
nuclear
inside the core of
reactor.
it because there's a hole.
And there's a hole, yes. So it could be.
but they're really anti-technology in a way. In a way, they are not screens.
They don't look like machines.
But they are, I suppose, that was the clue, wasn't it? Is that they sort of all trying to talk about experience
And also pixels.
and experience.
What was the name of the game? I still keep my Commodore 64, so we had a game in there. So
Yeah, when
1918,
it falls like
remember?
different shapes.
Tetris.
Tetris.
Something has this
Or Rubik's Cube, yes. Rubik's Cube. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Can you
these
imagine
are not
trying to
like
figure that out?
vessels. See, they can hold something.
But the
They got
Rubik's Cube
space.
can be like in mid-turn.
Yeah.
You know, so this twisted kind of
So your Rubik's Cube.
grid like this. It's kind of, because usually they come to a stable kind of cube, but as they're twisted, then they're basically.
So if it's like twisted and it's called core, it could be like, you know how the DNA helix is like twisted? And then that's all the different DNA pieces.
And also they look a bit like concrete as well. So I think it's like, yeah, you can tell it's the same.
They look like rubber, like that kind of.
Yeah, they do look like copper.
Could be, but over there.
I think the clue, I mean, I don't know, but the thing that I picked up that I think might resonate is this idea of a digital pixel. That seems to be like, somebody said it and it's like, and then it went off. And it was like, oh, let's try and catch that. It seemed like a good a possible way in, like some screen, a pixel, like how, just, when somebody said it, it just felt like, oh, maybe this. Like,
Yeah, but these, so you know what this looks like? It looks like the footprint of a shoe, or a car, you know, a tire. And that's also over there, right? It's definitely not made by hand. It's something has been pressed into it, right?
Possibly even the shoe.
It could be a shoe.
So it looks like the passing of time.
but so obviously it isn't that. So if it is that, it isn't that. Right, so it's trying to subvert it, it's trying to say something like against it, or like that it's trying to reclaim something, experience that's not mediated through a pixel.
You think with a knife? Yeah, that's maybe could be with a knife. Yeah. This is too perfect to be. Otherwise, he's got a very steady hand. Oh. No, but this happens with rocket. This pixelation happens with rocket. It goes with
that side.
Am I?
it could also be a spine, you know, like because it's just that why does it have a hole in it and this doesn't have a hole?
Like a vertebra. So
Like a vertebra. it should have a hole in it.
I think maybe use different tools for this.
I think without the hole is
I think if you turn this upside down, there's a hole. Because otherwise you can't.
No, I'm talking
But-
about the surface.
Oh, the surface.
The surface, not the hole.
But that's a type of glaze that crackles. It's a crackled glaze.
The thing that
The different process.
kind of I find pleasing about it is its imperfections. So it's a regular pattern, but it's nothing is regular about it. So each square is a little bit different. It's a little bit squishy, you know. So it's not like I've not got this perfect grid that's being rotated in a mathematical way. It has this heft to it that's kind of I don't know. Yeah, it says something about like, but it's made out of clay, right? So it's like that's what the clay wants to do. It wants to do that kind of that sort of soft cutting, that kind of feeling. But it sort of seems to be part of the meaning in my reading.
Yeah, there is a texture. You know what clay feels like when you see this. You know at the bottom how it squishes and how it's really sort of. It looks like somebody had a good time, right? Like it's a happy. I mean, it's not a sad piece, I think, right? It gives you a good feeling.
I feel like with this one you can definitely see the process within it. That one you're just guessing how things were happening. But with these two pieces you can see things were pressed into it, parts were glazed, parts were removed, how it was like set on the ground. So I feel like there is a lot of time within it that you can actually see. It just I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you feel that somebody either scraped something out or they pressed something in, and it's very sort of physical, right?
I agree that it seemed fun. So the wall pieces, like I feel like more of like a considered serious statement, and then these sort of like animated, fun. Maybe it's a parallel. I've got a thing in a wall and a thing in a plenty. It's quite interesting.
It's your turn.
Thank God. I mean, how mean are we making you do that? I mean, it's so horrible making you just stand there in silence for this.
Now you know.
Okay, where do I start? Okay, so in my practice, in what I mentioned before, I'm interested in Anthropocene, so this idea of a geological epoch where things over the last 100 years or so, like natural things and artificial things have collided. So quite a prevalent example of that is a thing that geologists have called plasticlomerate. So it's a rock that's got plastic in it, but it's become so like established in the like geological ecosystem that geologists have said, right, this is a thing, and there's different types of plasticlomerate. But this isn't necessarily about that. A lot of my work I've explored over the years, like replicating certain things and building installations that way. With these, I was more interested in not replicating objects, but replicating like processes that are natural, that are quite high pressure, so kind of like volcanic. So like the raku firing process lends itself perfectly to like kind of volcanic sort of processes. And I was thinking about, so I'll just explain a little bit about raku for those of you who don't know. So you do use kind of an electric kiln, but it's outside. You fire it, but then instead of taking it into a kiln that cools it down slowly, so normally you'd cool it down for 12 hours or so, you take it straight out. So you think, rather than it going 1,900, 800, 700, 600, 500 degrees, 400 degrees, 300 degrees, 200 degrees, it goes 1,000 degrees. We're in the UK, right? So in the summer it was probably like 18. So it goes 1,000 to 18. So thermal shocks occur. So like this, for instance, the cracking wasn't actually from a particular glaze, that's from multiple dips of the glaze, and then the cracking comes from that. the work itself, so I was interested in items because I'm like spent most of my life in urban environments. A lot of my work I look at things that occur as if they're in the Anthropocene, but they're like natural things, so like layers of stickers or graffiti or paint is some things I've explored in other works. But in this work in particular, I'm thinking about things that are discarded, like phone screens and phones and things that I took up magnet fishing for a while with a friend. We throw a magnet, into the, I wouldn't condone it, but you get some interesting looking things. And there's this phone that we got, and it looked like a kind of mini shipwreck. It was so kind of beautiful in a way. So I was thinking about that with these two, and thinking about all works. I'm kind of thinking about things we like to have sort of myself as well, like sort of things that use maybe procrastinate, like fidget toys, or things that sort of like fidget and play around with, and then like phones and devices that we sort of every now and again will just procrastinate with, and thinking of ways to make them look kind of archaeological, crystallized, or sort of, like they've had a sort of long sort of life to them. Thinking about phones and electronic devices and how they sort of they do use a lot of the resources, like lithium, isn't it? It's lithium, yeah. Got that wrong for a bit. So I wanted to create these using nothing but clay and wood. So the wood is like an added extra. There's no glaze. So what I've done is a process called naked raku. So I wanted to create something, and I found a lot of your comments really interesting about like the areas that were shiny, like you were talking about the roughness, and then the sort of idea of it being like a picture. Those are all really interesting, and then, so that was exactly kind of what I wanted to go for, but by using nothing. So like I learned this process called naked raku. So the roughness is actually the clay, because with raku you use this clay that's got grot in it, or grok they call it, like really rough clay, so it's strong. So
Invented by Elon.
Sorry?
Invented by Elon.
Yeah. So like rolled out slabs of clay, usual like slab rolling technique, and then cut them. But then I've used a razor blade and a metal ruler to slice off areas. So that the rough bits are where you've got the rough clay where it's been razor bladed. After the clay's dried, so the clay's dried, it's gone bone dry, and then you razor blade it to create these like screen-like shapes. And then you can buff up the clay using this thing called terra sigillata, which you make. And you make it by putting like dust, like clay dust, into a bottle of water, so you can just recycle a bottle of water. And then you leave it for a week. And then what you do is you put a syringe into the middle, because the bits at the bottom are too thick and the bits at the top are too thin. You want the bits in the middle, which are like the right consistency. So you get this syringe and you siphon off the area in the middle of the bottle, which is like a kind of really fine slip. So like slips like this watery clay. It's super fine, so it's called like terra sigillata. Then you can use that. So I masked off the areas there, and then so when the clay was dry, I buffed up areas using that terra sigillata, which is why it's shiny. So there's no material on there. There's just buffing with the terra sigillata, which is like clay polish. Then so like the horsehairs, a lot of the comments about the smokes were really interesting. I really like what Aaron said as well, and so that's actually something. If I was to elevate the work, I'm going to push that further, because these were my first two pieces with this technique. So I'm due to like actually go and use this technique again. And yeah, like if you were to say, how would you elevate it? Well, I'm quite happy with the outcomes, but in terms of the playing with the surface, I want to like be more. Now that I know how to do it, I want to be more intentional and maybe make bigger ones as well. But so what you can use, what did I use? I used reverse glaze, so it's like a glaze that you can pick off afterwards. So you can like, essentially once you've got the slab of clay and you've done the terra sigillata, you've polished it, you've done everything to it, you can like use masking tape to mask off areas. And then you put a layer of reverse glaze on it. And then you peel the masking tape off, and then that reveals parts of the clay that are naked, right? So those naked parts the parts that are covered in the reverse glaze, that will get turned into glass, which will protect it from the flames. And then the areas with no reverse glaze, you're getting all the smoke. So all the colours and the greys and the blacks, that's created by different levels of smoke exposure. So like for instance the dots, that would be where I just I use the pine stick to prick holes into it. But yeah, I've really liked a lot of the comments you were making about kind of how it looks like the kind of black mirror, like a screen. But yeah, again, how I'm going to elevate it, I'd like to, next time around this year, I'm going to focus more on the composition, like an intentional composition, because it's a little bit experimental, to be honest. So like the composition, like I like a lot of the textures, but it's a bit too experimental. And then these, yeah, really interesting stuff about what you were all saying about the different like marks, like has he stamped on it? Is there a part that's like accidental? Is it intentional? Yeah, really like those comments. Again, so these have got glaze, so the yellow and the white, that's glaze, and actually the black's glaze as well. So the black is a black glaze. The only bit here, so you can see like an area at the bottom, that's just smoke, so that's where there's no glaze. And there's double or treble glaze. And then if anyone's interested in thinking like how did you glaze some parts, well it's quite straightforward actually. So before I dipped it in black glaze, I would paint areas with latex. So when you dip it in the black glaze, the areas of latex are naked, and then you can peel the latex off and then paint on the other glaze. Yeah. So, yeah, it is. I mean, it is fun. It's really fun. There's a lot of like stuff you can do with raku that you can't do with normal ceramics, which is really exciting. 6 weeks. But like each session was like 10 to 4, so I guess that you could say for the body of work it was like 60 hours, minus lunch breaks, 54 hours. Normally I wouldn't time it, but in Waterloo. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you were talking about how you would improve it. You were talking about like the Anthropocene, right? What about like including plastic within it somehow so that it would melt in?
Yeah.
And that would, from a materiality perspective, it would literally be what you were talking about. Because this is an older method, but then you'd have like a new form.
I feel like it might disintegrate though, because it's got a lower melting point, but I could try. Yeah, that's a really
Might be really toxic.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. We all have masks. No, you have like masks.
But there are interesting materials
It's really interesting because you raise the point of materiality and like, so basically what you do is you have it in the kiln and then you make a reduction bin, but the reduction bin could be where you make it more conceptual. Like you can put like someone's ashes in there, you can put like all kinds of things, and you can put, so you have like sawdust predominantly, so you chuck it in there and it's really hot and it creates flames in this, and it's just a dustbin, so you put it in a dustbin full of stuff. But yeah, that's a really interesting point. So
unless you put it in while it's also like cooling down.
Yeah, that's cool. So the horsehair thing that's exactly when the horsehair thing happens. So the horsehair technique, which I haven't used, you would put it onto a hot thing that's cooling. Because it takes ages that one to so long to cool down. I tried to pick it up while I wanted to pass it. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so like the sort of after glazing, so like head pressing things in. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
What happens if you dunk it in water?
So that's actually part of the process. So you have to, you put it in you put it in a kiln, and then you take it out of the kiln, put it into the reduction bin, let it burn for a bit, put a wet tea towel, not like a big wet towel over the top of the bin, and then lift the lid off the bin. It's still really hot. Get tongs, put it into a bucket of water, and it goes and that sizzles.
What if it was holy water?
Sorry?
What if it was holy water?
Ooh, then that would be more interesting materiality, wouldn't it? But that one was fun because that kind of turned the bucket of water into like a hot spring.
Oh,
It's boiling away.
Great.
It's
Nice.
yeah. I like definitely some stuff to. I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do in the next round, which is like starts in a couple of weeks. So I like the idea of adding plastic. Yeah, cool.
What about putting some of those stickers in there?
What's that?
You talk about stickers.
Stickers?
The stickers burn and melted and it became something else. So.
They're going to burn them out to the point where they're not going to exist.
Yeah, but they'll do something, right?
Or you can burn them
So
with
they'll
put
do
them
something.
after and then burn them a little bit. with-
They'll always do something.
True. Residue.
You won't see
Candle or
them.
something.
Might be the void of the Exactly.
Good question. I just thought I had like a choice of glazes, and there wasn't many. I just find it quite appealing. It's a terrible answer, but I like the how artificial it looked. Like a lot of glazes look very natural. So unless you use like painted glazes, a lot of the chemical glazes or like glazes that they make up are designed to look natural. And I wanted a glaze that didn't look natural and could kind of be bubbly, so I get this like bubbly effect here. See that?
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted that bubbly.
Safe in here.
Yeah, but no, and then the wooden frames I added on afterwards. I mean, I wanted some a kind of way to hang them, and I sort of wanted them to protrude a bit. But yeah.
So you used a very strong glue, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to revisiting this because I think with this it's one of those things where the material process is so long-winded that like the actual time I had to formulate the composition was quite limited. I had like not long at all to sort of make it. So it'd be nice to know what. And it's like I think that's with everything, right? Once you know a process and then you do it again, you practice. You kind of have that. You spend less time on the process and you have more time to make the composition to make it work. Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
Is there any other artworks that you kind of want to talk about?
How about the singing? Just a quick...
Oh, yeah, to know a little bit about
Yeah,
it. So, Flora had an exhibition in the Brompton Cemetery.
Oh, really?
So you know there's a temple.
Oh, it's there where you're singing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So inside the temple, they opened it up. The Friends of the Brompton Cemetery opened it up, especially for for this. She had her and a few people had some artworks in there, but she worked with. She worked with someone who did community choir.
So that's one of her artworks. You see that? You see that? That's like a painting with like some sculptures coming out of it.
Oh, cool.
There's Philippe.
Yeah.
So how come was it not advertised or anything to go on choir?
We found out about it really late notice, and I think it was during a holiday. I can't remember. Was it during the summer holidays? It was like. Yeah.
I mean,
Philippe features.
it's so it really lovely sort of engaging people to be part of the work, right? And so I think it was. I mean, you can see the news clips that go with
exactly.
it.
So that relates to the song.
It relates to the songs. So the songs are kind of about. I think was it dolphins coming up the Thames?
Yeah, and
Well, it
the
was that,
horses running.
There was that whale. Do you remember the whale that got stuck?
There you go, yeah.
Stuck. So it's all about like wild kind of nature
and
encounters.
yeah, and I suppose trying to think about the ecology, think about the world that we're in, but these moments where wilderness kind of bumps up against us in the city kind of reminds us of something that we don't really encounter in London.
Like when an animal
But
escapes the zoo.
who did all this? It's like songs written and told.
Right, so this film is like an after film for the exhibition. So you got like that's how I'd interpret it. You got like the installation, you got the artworks. It was actually there was other artists at the show as well. And then this is so I think I went on the Sunday. I couldn't make the Saturday. This was the Saturday, and that's the artist. She's actually got a call out for a thing coming up soon. She wants people to go to Burgess Park at 1 p.m.
Oh.
I think it might be this Saturday. Check.
Oh,
but to
crap.
be part of the next piece. But this is kind of like a piece that it really beautifully incorporates the documentation of the participatory work, but then it's also like nicely edited into this 7-minute and 31-second video, also incorporating clips from some of the video installations. Because she had a piece there, the painting I pointed out, but then this would be on a screen, and the screen would be actually quite interesting. They were like on their side, like leaning against the wall like that, a lot of them. And then, because it's quite an interesting space, and she had to be quite inventive because you're not allowed to hang stuff on the wall, obviously.
Limited number of plugs.
Yeah.
It's all of this stuff, yeah.
But,
oh yeah, you couldn't hang anything.
I've been trying to get involved with them. But do you remember they changed their curator? I still heard of
So she organised, she just went and said, okay.
Yeah, it was like during open house, open house.
Oh, yeah.
But they were really happy because they get to tick off visitors. So as part of their funding, they, you know, to have like this many visitors come to see the, because they can only open it if somebody's there.
Yeah.
So it's a real dilemma because you can't just.
That's that model of if the artists are there, then it's like staying open for free, right? You've got to pay to get a volunteer.
So Flora created it.
She co-did it with another artist, so it's like a duo show.
Oh, okay. And who wrote the
But this is all her.
I think a friend wrote the music.
For
I think
this
she.
particular.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think someone wrote the music. She worked with somebody to write the music, but she wrote the words. I think something like that.
Music by?
There we go.
And book design by.
Thank goodness I remembered it right. Yeah. But you can see
the words as well. Actually, I was gonna.
What's really nice is the booklet didn't have music notation. It was just visual notation, so that you could just join in.
Yeah.
So, because you know, just it goes up, and that you got to remember it goes up and then it goes down.
Have you seen Laura's?
Yeah, should we go and look at Laura's?
Yeah,
This is good. This is the time for you guys to be like, hey, I really want to go and talk about that work. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The performance, what we did. How is the performance?
Well, okay, so she put out some of her old ones.
Just got to move up there.
Yeah. Before us.
Oh, I've seen some of them.
Reconstructions, 1949.
It's really good to have the context for it, isn't it? This, you know, this idea of.
This is our position.
Yeah.
But why 1949?
Video
So-
script, 2009. I think this one is her previous performance.
Yeah, but what I mean is like 1949.
I remember her talking about.
Ah, that's
so,
not. Look like.
We
haven't
We're doing silent crit.
I can see that.
Do you want to? We've had a silent crit, which I've realised is really cruel to put the students through because the whole time I was like, would you like the students to talk about the work for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes you can then contextualise it.
Must I?
Putting on the
So we
spot.
already have a question about 1949. We don't
Okay, good.
What happened to 1949?
but no, let's talk about it
the artist's not
before.
allowed to talk yet.
Before, so let's just look and then we can find out.
Yeah, I remember something else, but
Yeah. So what do you see, guys?
It's obviously an industrial surrounding, but it also looks like there's water on the
Sound
floor.
is important.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Like, is there water on the floor, or is it a shiny floor? I don't really understand that.
I wonder if we could unplug the headphones and then,
Oh
and then everyone can hear it.
You want to make
Oh,
it
it's like.
first.
Oh, here we go. Does that work? No. Doesn't
Otherwise,
seem
we
very
just
loud.
go.
Yeah.
No, it does work, but it's not loud. Is there a way to turn it?
But now there's no sound.
Yeah, I've unplugged it. Just trying to find a way to turn it
Now
on.
you're ruining my work, everyone.
Let's just do everyone take turns.
They're messing with your artwork.
Okay. Oh no, there's a remote. Okay.
So for me, it sounds very much like a national anthem. Yeah, you were thinking that way. Yeah. So that's stirring nationalism.
But it also sounds like, just because he's standing with a hula hoop, like old 1930s gymnastics movement,
Yeah.
they would do gymnastics to a piano.
But I mean, what's kind of interesting is some people have seen Lara's talk about her work, and then some people haven't.
Yeah, who hasn't seen it?
So,
Okay. Good. What do you think, Najma? Yeah?
And then that makes me white dress.
Yeah, the one in the middle is more expressive.
Maybe the red dress like is like more green job, and then the white dress is like more peace.
Matt, can you turn the sound down? I can't hear you.
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
So what you were saying?
I said the white dress is like more peace, and she's dancing very peaceful. And then with the red dress, it's just like danger. Yeah.
I feel like the opposite. I feel like the outside is more controlled, but they've been told to follow like a regime, and the middle one's struggling with the fact that they've got to be perfect all the time.
Yeah, and so, I mean, the outside ones are definitely coordinated, aren't they? So that's clear, isn't it? We have this coordinated. It's not just a mirrored video. Although you're thinking, is it a mirrored video, or is it two performances?
All the same person, I think. 3 of them is the same person.
Yeah, all the same person, I think, right? But the one in the middle looks like contemporary
That's a good question.
dance art performance, right?
Oh yeah, no worries. I put it in the coverage. I think it's pretty good. That's okay, no worries.
The one in the middle doesn't seem to. The one in the middle looks more like I want to express the feeling.
Yeah.
It was rhythmic gymnastics.
That's the big,
That's the two on the side.
on the sides. Like I agree with what you said. So these ones are like a bit more, yeah, control and particular movements, and that one is just like expressive. Although
Do you see what I mean?
just
It
now
looks like
she
there's
did
water, right? Like how does this look shiny? I just
Yeah, so I was going to ask about the space. What are we thinking about this vast space? What about the materials? Again, maybe people that haven't been to Laura's talk. What do we think of, or people that have been to the talk as well? What do we think about the physicality of the space, the materials of the space? How does that make us feel?
Is it all about nature? No. Right? So what's going on?
Does it feel cozy? Is it a cozy space?
Very brutalist.
Yeah.
Very like
Totalitarian?
Yeah, the tall walls are like towering above.
What was that, sorry?
Like the high walls and the black are like towering above the person. You know what I mean? You can't even see the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either totally modern glass, steel, concrete, or it's a really old sort of community hall with which wants to say the grandeur of our country is blah blah blah, and you feel really small and.
It's like the same space. It looks like the same space, but the same shiny space.
Or it's a production hall. Like it could be one of those spaces where you, like a building, which where you produce. You know.
So then
What do you think, Marina? Yeah.
Well, it's a personal email address, not your college email address. So your personal, I can't mail it.
It's kind of prison-like, not such a happy place. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but using your personal
But the contrast between sort of a beautiful woman doing very beautiful movements and then the very hard concrete. I think that's a nice contrast. The softness of a human being against the hard right?
Not at all. Thank you so much, Miss Lane. Yes, thank you. Take care.
And so, like people who have seen the talk, then what's the context that you remember? So it's like homework, isn't it? Do you know what? You know when I was asked, oh my God, I think I remember Flora said that she didn't write the music. Oh yeah, I had to remember. Yeah.
Well, it is inspired by kind of socialist gymnastics of the, like you said, like 30s or even earlier. There was
1920s.
Yeah, there was a movement to create a healthy communist socialist citizen. Was a lot about like everyone has to do some group exercise, particular, very directed. So there would be someone show you repeat exactly. So those two, the videos on the side that they are about that somehow. But then in the middle, that's something different. So that maybe I don't know. I would say it maybe inner life, more like emotional. Of the person, and this is like the outside that they have to do controlled.
But also that you have to look like I'm a healthy person in a healthy country, and this is a good society, and then inside you're medically.
She's dying.
Yeah, she's not very comfortable, right? Yeah.
So all about the woman, I think, woman in art, performance art, and the position what we performed previously. It was about the monuments, East Russia.
Yeah, like she's now going to go in pose. That posture.
Yeah, that posture.
Yeah, but she's doing what she's being told, and she's trying to make it look like she's living a good life, right? Whereas she's against it, or she's trying to revolt, but she's also in agony.
Yeah, it could be the against it.
Should we do the Trevor phrase?
If only the artist was here.
Yeah.
That's great. That's Trevor's catchphrase. That's really good.
Okay, well, where do we start? So maybe we start from the last thing you said. So I guess these videos, you're right, the two on the sides are mirrored of the same video. All two or three videos are part of much larger body of videos, and this is typical of me. I never fix it. I show it depending on the space, depending on the setting. So triptych, this is just a triptych iteration of much larger body of work, because I'm kind of, I don't like to commit. Because it's a bit like past, like history, it constantly keeps rewriting itself, so I try to do the same with presenting my work. So for this setting, this is what I chose, but this is maybe not necessarily it. Body of work, 1949 is important because it's the beginning of building of socialism in Yugoslavia, where I'm. And you're right, you picked up on something. It is about, obviously, all the influences, but it's actually even more concrete. It's a re-performance of a video footage that I found, the earliest video footage that I could find that corresponds to similar age that my mum was at the time, and she was dancing, so I don't have footage of her dancing in this. So it's kind of the closest I could get geographically
and also in time to that moment in history. And yes, you were right, there were loads of dancers. And I reconstructed the choreography with Claudia, and then we kind of shot it. And it's about a fragmented history as well, when it doesn't make sense anymore, and it's in London, and it's 2026, and it's, you know, like, who gives a peep about it, you know, so it's kind of about, but it does, the story means something still to quite a few people, but it's about fragment of a collective body that once was. So that's the side. The middle, you're right as well, you pick this up, and it is passion, it is pain, it is all of that. So if we see that the sides, the white dress symbolizes maybe the beginning, the 1949. The middle is the end. It's another performance. It's the end of the system of the country. It's a performance in which, it's a durational performance in which the performer just falls and rises 56 times. To symbolize the amount of conflicts in the world that there are at the moment. So it's not just, it kind of hopefully transcends the, you know, the time and space, and it's a highly kind of symbolic performance, and this is all it happens. And for this I kind of put them together. The music, it's quite an interesting story. I think when I was doing my MA and I was researching all of this, I went to the British Library and I found this booklet for the first ever collective dance that was choreographed in 1949 for Yugoslavia, and it was called the First 5-Year Plan. And this is the original music that my friend has replayed. There were notes, only notes, and detailed description of movements. So it's another reconstruction as well. So the music, so they're all kind of fragments that are put together into a new narrative, or just an emotion, or just purely visual kind of experience. Can anyone recognize the space? It's, you've all been there.
Tate?
Yes. Yeah, it's Tate. No, more than the tanks. And and also the story, which is as well, during COVID, I was going to have this one-person show in my hometown in the Museum of History of Contemporary Art. COVID hit. What do? We were going to film everything on a location there in this disused army barracks. COVID happened. We were stuck in London, the whole three of us, the cinematographer, Claudia, and myself. And then I just literally phoned Tate Modern and said, I have this commission, can I rent it? And they said, yes, this doesn't happen now, you can't do this. Because it was COVID, they rented it to the museum, who paid for it for £300 for whole day. What? Yes. But community prices, yeah. We had to come at 10 in there, leave at 4, but it's because, and this is kind of, always try, just try. And they can only say no. So I tried. Independent. They just gave us, they opened because everybody was with a mask, they opened the space, they said use it. This is where you need to pay.
When about the
November 21.
Yeah. You already had like a kind of that other institution.
I had a museum of contemporary art in Istria, kind of, but they didn't even ask. I had a ready letter. They didn't ask. They were worried that they will not, that they will not use it. For God knows how, we didn't know at that time. So they were just renting it to community projects, anything, filming. And that's how it was. And that's the story of this piece. Yes.
It's like, I think it's definitely, that's really interesting and unique experience, but I think getting space is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
I think in a way it's almost as if the councils want the space to be empty rather than the hassle of artists using it sometimes.
Yes.
But it's always worth trying. Just don't give up. Just keep trying. It's always worth asking.
Yeah.
That's the main point. Because you'd be surprised, like the amount of spaces that aren't being used in London. And every now and again you'll have someone on the other end of the line who's like, yeah, go for it. That's great.
We have a vacancy on this date and you can use it. Yeah, it's worth it. Any other questions? Yeah. But yes, you were kind of all, I'm happy because you picked up, what the intention was.
I think everyone, when we were talking about all the works, they really were able to locate what was going on, and it was just they just made associations with what they were seeing, and then just honestly engaging with it. And so there's nothing complicated about art sometimes. You just have the confidence to have your own reactions.
Say what you think. Say what's popping up in your head. But you seem like you're all getting really good at it.
But there's no kind of sense of getting it wrong, because a successful piece of art will have those associations, and it will communicate it if it's a good piece of art. But also it will be individual as well. So there's always that two-way where you meet the artist meets you, and you meet the artist. So the meaning is created in that two-way reaching out. And the other thing that occurred to me was that the idea of an artist that's just bothered by something. I was saying that I'm bothered by something and I have to do it over and over again. So like that's quite often when you have a practice for a while, you find out what the thing that bothers you is, and you have to keep returning to it, and you just can't help do it.
What is
But it was also
sorry, one thing. The thing is not bother you, but it can be something that obsesses you as well.
Yeah.
Like you're obsessed about that instead to actually bothering you.
It's. I think quite often it's something that you can't put into words, but it's something that you still have to return to. I think that's quite often an artist's impulse or practice. Is it kind of not a trauma necessarily, but it can be just a thing that you just are compelled to return to.
But don't get put off by anyone who might be in the art world who says there is a right or wrong way to talk about art. Don't get put off by that, because the beauty of, as you're sure you'll see, of the silent prints is that little nuggets happen. Like when we were talking about Philippe's work, someone talked about children's blocks. Philippe was like, "Oh, that's great, I'm having that."
Yeah.
And it's like when I think I've talked to you about when someone wrote about my work years ago, and I didn't give them any context, and they had a few nuggets as well. I was quite happy to take, and then that fueled my research. So don't ever get, because there are people in the art world who probably will be a little bit like, there is a wrong way to say it, but it's obviously a safe place.
But they're wrong.
They're wrong, exactly.
There's no wrong way, but they're wrong.
And we just like that.
But like, there's different parts of the art world. There's this sort of like, the commercial art galleries, like the Frieze Art Fair, just the emerging art spaces. There's all kinds of different beautiful pockets of the art world. And but I think keep in mind that whole idea of a silent critic, and anything goes, say anything you want, and the artists usually appreciate that, because you're feeding what their work is about. Like, you're giving a perspective that's outside of their brains. Yeah?
And you're expanding the work like this,
yes.
Because it is about communication. I mean, if I wanted this to be a hermetic piece, it will be shown only in one place in this world. But it's super interesting to see what people get from it that maybe have nothing to do with that time, that research, and there is still some kind of something that unites us, and you all picked up, this is going to be suppressive, it feels like this, it feels like that, what you were all saying.
The other thing is that you wouldn't bother making art if it was easy to talk about. You'd write an essay. And then that would be it. You'd say the thing that you wanted to say, and then it would be over. So it does something different. It does something that's slippery, right? Something you can't get hold of, right? And that's why it's great. That's why art is amazing, because it's more expansive than just what you can say in words or what you can describe easily. Yeah, good, right?
It should be more important than STEM subjects.
Indeed, indeed.
More valued.
And on that note,
That note.